Hello and welcome everyone to the Long Road Virtual Open Evening. This is a little bit of a first for us, so please bear with us and we're really happy to have you joining us. My name is Andrea Joyce and I am the course team leader for A-Level Film Studies, and I'm going to be spending a little bit of time with you this evening, about half an hour, talking about the A-Level Film Studies course. And we are also going to be joined by some of my really fantastic students in a little while who are going to give you some of their thoughts and insights into the course. These are my contact details, so if you do have any questions after the event, then please feel free to contact me. We do have a Q&A as well, so if you want to ask questions, hopefully you should be able to do that as we're going through. So here at Long Road, we have been studying film for a really long time, and at the moment we are following the OCR Film Studies specification, and it's a 70% exam, 30% coursework split. So how that breaks down is the coursework element is a short film. It's a 5-minute short film that the students are having to make, and they also need to evaluate it against a selection of professional short films. This usually takes place at the beginning of the second year. So the students who you're going to meet shortly are in the thick of their coursework project at the moment, so they might be able to tell you a little bit about that later on. For the examined component, there are 2 papers. So both of those papers are 2 hours long, and they're equally split, so they're worth 35% of the final grade. Paper 1 is film history, which covers both US film history and also European film history, with an emphasis on experimental and surrealist film, and also on French New Wave, one of my personal favourites. Paper 2 is critical approaches to film. That includes a UK and US comparative study, which is really interesting, kind of looking at how the UK film industry versus the US film industry, how they operate differently and produce final films with very different aesthetics. It also has a section on documentary film, another one of my absolute favourites, and also the final section of that paper is called Ideology of Conflict, which is a really interesting historical and cultural reflection on how conflict is represented in film and what that tells us about the world and how our perception and view of conflict has changed over time as well. Really interesting unit. So my particular approach to teaching film is to integrate as many opportunities as possible for practical work throughout the course. So in the first year in particular, we do a whole range of different practical projects. So we do recreations of scenes from key films, and we also make short documentaries. We devised a film noir inspired scene, all of that in the first year. The idea being that students are really then very prepared technically for the technical milestone that is making their own short film, which is quite an undertaking. I also tried to create as many opportunities as possible for students to engage with film outside of the classroom. So some of the events on the slide that you're seeing at the moment are some of the ways in which we do that. So I think the key thing is, don't just take my word for it. Let's talk to some of the students and get their views and their insights into film and how film works here at Long Road. So I just want to introduce you firstly to Arissa. So Arissa, thank you for joining us this evening. Really appreciate your time. Can you start off just by introducing yourself, please?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Arissa. So I went to St. Peter's School in Huntingdon, and I'm currently taking film studies, media studies, and English language and literature.
Great. So Arissa, can you tell our audience who are joining us a little bit about the extracurricular activities in film studies, maybe with a bit of an emphasis on the Film Studies magazine as the current editor of the Long Lens?
Yeah, of course. So so my extracurricular includes the college film magazine, and it's called The Long Lens. I mean, it's pretty much self-explanatory. It's a film magazine, and we pretty much just talk about contemporary issues relating to film, so like representation of race, sex, gender, stuff like that. We also talk about film recommendations a lot. We have film reviews, so just stuff like that. Yeah, and being a part of it is pretty awesome because not only do I get to like practice my writing skills, which is pretty useful for me because I want to work in the field in the future, so like around film. Um, it's also really awesome because I get to learn. I have to chip in on other things like graphic design, stuff like that. So it's pretty useful. Um, yeah, it's really good practice for me. It's also good for my portfolio, obviously, because unis love stuff like that. So yeah, uh, that's pretty much yeah.
Great. Okay. So, Arissa, what do you think are some of the interesting things about being involved in the magazine? Because you weren't the editor originally, were you? What was your role before being the editor?
So before I was the editor, I was just a writer. But I did get to come up with. I was a writer, but I was able to chip in on a lot of other things because obviously, at first we had a really small team, so we sort of just had to sort of help each other do whatever there was left to do. I was a writer, but I did have to do. I had to help with like layout and graphic design and stuff like that. So I mean, I got to learn extra things I didn't think I would get to learn. So that was cool for me.
I think one of the key things that made it obvious that you were the ideal candidate for the role of editor was your ability to get stuck in and take on board the challenges. I remember in the summer term when we launched the magazine, it's a pretty new project, isn't it? We've only been running it since the summer term. Arissa spent a really intense period of time going through and really turning the magazine from quite a disparate sort of style. There was quite a lot of different layouts and backgrounds, and you streamlined the whole magazine, didn't you, and made it a really cohesive final publication. And that's a really massive job, which you took on board completely, on your own. And we were up against it in terms of our print deadline, and you did a really, really great job of that. And I think those skills of really getting involved, going the extra mile, and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone as well was a really fantastic experience for you. And now you're leading the team, and we have people who are writing for the magazine all across the year groups as well, which is really, really great. And I think this kind of thing on your personal statement will be really valuable.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Great. Okay, thanks so much, Arissa. I'd like to introduce you guys now to Abby. Thank you for joining us, Abby. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, yeah, I'm Abby, and I went to Whitchford Village College, and right now I'm taking film studies, business A-level, and criminology.
Great. Okay. So, Abby, can you tell our audience a little bit about some of the extracurricular activities you've been involved in, particularly in relation to the Water Sprite Film Festival?
Yeah, of course. So some of the things, well, last year there was the Creative Futures Day, which was organised by the Water Sprite Film Festival with collaboration with BBC Three, which is quite cool. And there was like commissioning editors of how programs are made, and some students got to pitch ideas, which is really awesome thing to do. And that we've had multiple talks with. There was a production assistant and a digital apprentice with BT, but I'm currently doing I'm a judge for the Water Sprite Film Festival, which basically we meet virtually every week or so to discuss a different film. And I think that it's an amazing opportunity that I got because it helps me to develop my analysing skills for films, which I can take to university.
Thanks, Abby. It's a really great little group we have going on, isn't it? So we do meet every week. And what do you think about the kind of variety of the submissions that you've had the chance to look at?
Oh, some of the submissions weren't the best, but there were some that are amazing. And, we even said last week that there was one that we would submit for an award because it was so amazing. And I think it really helps you get to see what other directors, how they do their own. And then I think in a way it helps you decide like how you want to decide as a director. Well, me now as I'm making a short film, how I can put that into my own work and how I would change that when I see something that I don't like.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you've definitely developed your sort of discerning eye, but not only that, your ability to articulate why you like something and why you don't like something and why you think it works or doesn't work. So I think as a development tool, it comes into its own, doesn't it? And we have students not just from the second year group, but also from the first year group who are involved in this judging group. Abby, what do you think about getting the chance to talk to first year students about the films as well?
I think it's quite interesting actually, because I feel like they have a different opinion to what the year twos have sometimes. Well, actually, there is a lot of similar opinions, but some of the technical aspects, like I feel that's something you develop as you go into year two, and some of the year twos can pick up on that a lot easier, which just shows like how much I've learned over the year that I can pick up on something, whereas someone who's in the same course just a year behind is, well, not they can pick up just as fine, but do you know what I mean? And
yeah, absolutely. I think the point you're making there about that, how you feel that it's given you an opportunity to see the development that you made in a short space of time. And the great thing about it is that actually what you guys as second years in that judging group are bringing in is that wisdom and perspective, and it's really helping the first years to kind of come along and develop in another way too. So it's really great, and I really enjoy those groups too. Thank you so much, Abby. We're going to go to Luca now. I'd like to introduce everyone to Luca. Hey, Luca, thanks so much for joining us. Could you introduce yourself to our audience, please?
Hi, I'm Luca, and I went to Camborne Village College, and I currently study A-level history, film studies, and English literature and language.
Okay. Luca, we've got massive reverb. I think, Arissa, if you turn your mic to mute, it might be because you guys are in the same room. Luca, do you want to try that introducing yourself again?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Luca, and I went to...
Okay, hang on, let me try muting mine. Does I have any idea what's going on here? Sorry about this, everyone. We're just having some technical issues. Luca, do you want to try unmuting yourself? Trying one more time.
Hi. Okay. Hi, I'm Luca, and I went to Camborne Village College, and I currently study A-level history, film studies, and English language and literature combined.
Okay, I think the echo has left the building. Fingers crossed. Luca, do you want to say a little bit about why you picked Long Road and what are the things that you particularly enjoy about studying film?
Yeah, so I picked Long Road because I really like the atmosphere of Long Road, and particularly the building. It's like very the natural spaces around the college is really nice, especially for in summer. You can just go sit outside in the gardens under the trees and stuff. And also like the diversity at Long Road is quite big, and you know you can find different types of people here, and I think no matter who you are, what you are, you can fit in and you'll find people that you get along with. I think that's really important. And also in terms of the timetabling, you have a lot of freedom and you have a lot of independent study, which is really nice. And particularly it gives you some time to perhaps work part-time during the week. So you could sometimes work before you have a lesson at college or after you have a lesson at college. So I think the freedom is also really important and nice to have at Long Road. So that's why I personally chose it. And I enjoy film studies because I like the practical aspects, particularly when we recreated the scene from Do the Right Thing, and creating a noir film sequence was really fun. I think it gives you that hands-on experience and you get to go out there and express yourself creatively. And also currently with my short film for my NEA, like I'm a big horror genre fan, so I think for the NEA aspect, if you're a huge fan of a certain genre, you can go out and just be creative and do something that you want to do. And I really like that aspect from film studies. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much, Luca. Yeah, we were in the studio just now, weren't we, with Arissa?
Yeah.
filming some of your short film, and yeah, those claps were really loud. They scared me more than the person in the mask. Great, thank you so much. Okay, I'd like to introduce you all next to Byron. Byron, thanks so much for joining us. Could you introduce yourself to our audience, please? Oh no, we've just lost you. No, you're there. Great, go for it.
Hi, I'm Byron, and I went to Swavesey Village College. Yeah.
And what are you studying, Byron, alongside film studies?
Alongside film studies, that's graphic design and media studies. Yeah.
Great. And can I ask you to say a little bit, I mean, I think probably one of the key things that a lot of our audience will want to know is, you know, how does virtual learning work? And you know, in the times that we do have lessons where people are working remotely, how has that worked for you? What's been your experiences of that?
Well, you'd think it would be pretty jarring, and I mean, at first it was, but it's actually very easy to use most of the virtual learning stuff. So mostly as a catch-all, we use Microsoft Teams, which is essentially what we use to do these calls, obviously, lessons when we're not in college. And it's also where we get our assignments and where we're able to like get resources and so forth when we need them. Alongside that, for film studies, what we use a lot is our Google Drive, which is sort of just where Andrew will put files for us, whatever we need, really. Yeah. And then lastly, I guess we have our emails, which is also just how we contact one another. Yeah.
Great. I like the idea of Google Drive being somewhere I put everything you need. I wish I could send snacks through Google Drive. That would be great.
That would be great.
It would, wouldn't it? Yeah, I think the beauty of using something like Google Drive is that you got. I mean, we used Google Drive, didn't we, before we had to kind of come up with a system to deliver virtual lessons when we went into the first lockdown. And actually, I think that really put us in a strong position because you guys didn't have to learn an extra system. So the students were already really familiar with using Google Drive to access all of the lesson resources. So every student also has their own individual folder where they keep their work. And that's useful for me because it means I can go in and kind of monitor what they're doing and leave them real-time feedback in the chat function on Google Drive as well. So that's really, really useful. And Microsoft Teams has just been a great add-on to that, hasn't it, in terms of giving us that ability to communicate during lessons. And also the thing I found really great is that you guys use the chat function really, really well. So now if a student, you know, if somebody's bus is late, people message me on Teams in the chat function and say, Andrea, my bus is late, I'll be there in, you know, in 5 minutes. So in terms of communication and keeping everybody informed, I think Teams has just taken things up a level, hasn't it, in terms of keeping everyone in the loop. What do you think, Byron?
Yeah, I think it's been really useful. We've all sort of gotten used to it. Yeah, it's just like normal now.
It's like home.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, thanks so much, Byron. Okay, and lastly, I'd like to introduce you to Leo. Thanks for joining us, Leo. Could you just introduce yourself and say what school you went to and what subjects you take, please?
Hi, I'm Leo, and I went to Linton Village College. I am currently studying biology, film studies, and criminology.
Ooh, science. Just goes to show that you can combine film studies with absolutely anything.
Yeah.
So can I ask you, Leo, about the skills that you learned from studying A-level film? That's historically at open evenings. One of the questions that I often get asked by parents and by students is, what are the skills that students kind of go away with after they've been studying film? Specifically, what are they, and how you think they will help you in the future?
Right, so yeah, we definitely learn a lot of critical analysis skills in terms of things like everything in the scene is there for a reason in a film, and it definitely makes you have like a sharper mind because you kind of have to delve into everything, like why is it there and everything, and also it kind of helps you to multitask as well because you have to be looking at the scene and also filtering the information in your head and also think about how is this, why is this, everything else. And especially the stuff we're doing at the moment is the short film. We definitely learn how to multitask very well. I can say for myself, it's been a very real struggle to line up timetables properly in terms of with my actors and with anyone that can help out in terms of sound. Yeah.
It's certainly been a challenging undertaking, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I think certainly for all of you guys, being able to juggle a coursework project alongside a second lockdown has been really challenging. So I think certainly flexibility in terms of deadlines, but also, you know, the skills that you guys are learning through having to be adaptable and flexible and resilient as well. And I've been really impressed with how you've all kind of had a can-do attitude through all of this and not thought, oh, it's too difficult. And that says a lot about all of you as people. And those are life skills really that you know are going to stand you in a really in really good stead for the future as well. Great, thanks so much for that, Leo. I appreciate it. Do we have any questions? I'm just having a look. Sam, do you want to cut back to me for this? Thanks. I can't see any questions in the Q&A. I don't think I'm missing anything. So from the floor, from all of you guys, when you were coming to Long Road for the first time, what are some of the things you wish you'd known before you got here? Lika, do you want to answer that? You were waving your hand then. Take yourself off mute, Luca. There you go.
Definitely, like, the campus is really bigger than you would expect. So remembering the classrooms is really difficult. So I'd definitely say memorize your timetable and where your classes are. Because on my first day, I ended up in an economics class instead of an English class. So yeah.
Oh wow, how long did it take you to realize you were in the wrong place?
It took me 20 minutes.
That's brilliant. Perfect. Well done. Anyone else? Anything you wish you'd known when you first started at Long Road?
I would like to say I think before I came here, I kind of underestimated how because like, you know, in Cambridge there's Hills Road and then there's Long Road and then there's like super competitive. Hills is like super academic, super stressful, and like Long Road is like super laid back, like chill. You don't need to worry about stuff that much. I mean, like, I think I kind of took it for granted because yeah, I stuck. So like, don't take it for granted. Obviously, it is college. It's A levels. You can't just like think that it's gonna be super easy. You're gonna have your ups and downs. You just need to prepare yourself for it. Don't act like it's gonna be a breeze. So
yeah, it's a really good point.
It is chill here, but still you need to focus on your studies. So
do you think, Arissa, when kind of things get tough, do you think that you feel that you have enough support here? Like, what kind of support is available to students if they're having difficulties?
I definitely do think there's there's enough support because I always have talks to my teachers. They're always super supportive. Like if I can't meet my deadlines, they're always they would help me by pushing my deadline back. But obviously there's always a limit to that. They always remind me that like, okay, I will help you out, but we can't go all the way with this. There has to be an end to it at some point. So yeah, so I definitely say there's lots of support.
Yeah, absolutely. And every student has a dedicated progress coach. We have 2 of them helping us here with the Q&A. And they're really fantastic sources of support in all of the different kind of ways, both in terms of helping students with progression, but also helping them with support. We have amazing academic support teams here too, with learning support assistants. We have counsellors on staff. I mean, one of the things I've always thought about Long Road, and I worked here for a very long time, went and did other things, then came back. is that it is a great place for people who need a little bit of extra support, and we all do at various times in our lives. So it's a wonderful place to just be yourself and to get the support that you need to be the best version of yourself, I think. I've just noticed there is a question in the chat from Finlay. Hi Finlay, thank you for joining us. Are you able to make an animation for the short film? So Michael's answered that question absolutely spot on. Yes, you can. Everyone else is thinking, oh, really? So the brief is to make a short fictional film. So as long as the animation is a fictional film, then yes, absolutely you can. I hope that you're thinking about joining us, Finlay, and maybe I'll meet you this year or next year. Okay, so we're kind of coming to a close. I can't see any other questions in the chat box. So I just wanted to say that we do have other opportunities to meet us and talk to us. We have welcome days in June of next year, and we also have more open evening events in June of next year, which we're really hoping will be face to face. If not, then there'll be more of this lovely virtualness, and we really hope that you can meet us in person then, and we can see some of you in real life. We also have other ways that you can keep up to date with what life is like here at Long Road. So we have all of our social media channels. I think the next slide has the details of that. Can I get my next slide? Lovely, thanks. So we have our Long Road Facebook page, at LR6FC on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We have our brilliant website as well. And just a reminder that we have a deadline of the 12th of January next year for September 2021 applications. And I really hope I get to meet some of you in person then. Can I just say a massive thank you to these wonderful humans, are my amazing students. Thank you, Luca. Thank you, Arissa. Thank you, Leo. Thank you, Abby. Thank you, Byron. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And thank you all very much for joining us. We very much appreciate it. And good night.